Hello, and welcome to Women in Business, where we interview entrepreneurs and senior managers and show you the strengths, successes, obstacles, and roadblocks women experience in business. Since I believe every person in business needs to be visible, I'd like to invite you to watch www.sob6, that's the number 6, tips.com, which will give you some valuable information should you get the call to be on radio or TV, which I think is extremely important. If you'd like to contact me personally, drop me a line at Gayle Carson, that's Gayle, Gayle Carson 13 at gmail.com, or go to my website, www.spunkyoldbroad.com, and sign up for my weekly newsletter. My guest today is Barbara Vercruysse, and Barbara is from Belgium. She's a coach, a spiritual mentor, a thought leader, and public speaker. After facing several challenges in her life, and surviving a stage 4 skin cancer at the age of 32, she decided to live her second life at the fullest. So after running a successful 6-figure construction business for 18 years, she dedicates herself to her true passion now, which is guiding people through a deep transformation. She supports people around the world in leading a fulfilled life, creating impact and success by living and leading with love. One of her clients is BMW, where she operates as a quality manager and business coach, and she's responsible for screening all business processes and guiding people to perform optimally in their jobs. Welcome, Barbara.
Hello, Gayle. So honored to be here.
Well, it's so wonderful to have you, but that is quite a change, going from running a construction business to running a coaching business. That's got to be kind of a little shock to your system. Tell us a little bit about how that all happened.
Well, you could say that the seed was in me my entire life. But as many of us, when we start our life in our adolescence, we go to high school, then we go to college, we married, and we go through life in a rather, you could say, unconscious way. We live the life that is expected from us. And that's what I did. I went to high school, college, married, and I started a business, a similar business to the business that my parents had all their lives, a construction business, because I love to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, and I did it without thinking too much about it. And as you told in the introduction, at the age of 32, I was diagnosed with a stage 4 skin cancer. My youngest was 2 months old. So that was an extreme shock, not only for me, especially for my husband, because our kids were 3 years and a half, 2 years and a half, and a newborn. For my parents, who were still young at that time. And it was... If I look back at it now, it was a wake-up call. It's not that you have that feeling immediately, because all you feel is shock. It's a first shock. And you don't think, well, this is a blessing. I look back at it as a blessing, but not at that moment. For me, the biggest, you could say, shock was, I was told I had 6 more months to live. And I was thinking, I am 32. If I don't, will not be there anymore for the end of the year, if I look back at my 32 years here on this planet, am I happy with my legacy? And I was not. I was laying in that hospital bed and I was thinking, oh my God. It's really like something opens up, just being faced to death so in such a shocking way. And I promised to myself, if I would recover, that I would live my life, first of all, each day as if it was my last day, being very grateful for every day that was given to me, every day that I got more. And secondly, that I would make more conscious choices. But it's not something that you can do from one day to another. I was running a construction business. We had lots of investments, and it's not like I could close my door and go on my self-discovery journey. 3 little kids, like a family to support. So I started a journey of self-discovery, went to retreats, seminars. I followed coaching certificates, read hundreds of books on self-development, spirituality. But I was still running my construction business because there was still a certain fear, you could say, to let it go. I started it and I wanted to finish it in a beautiful way. But in 2016, I got a very severe setback in the construction business. And for me at that time, it was a sign, if I look back at it now, it was a sign of the universe telling me, Barbara, your calling is elsewhere. So I had to go far out of my comfort zone and close the construction business and reinvent myself, which I did. We're 3 years later now. And, at that time, 3 years ago, I was 46. And at 46, I had to reinvent myself. And it has been great. It has been painful by times. But if I look at it back now, wow, what an opportunity.
Well, it is true. It is true that when you have a serious illness, it makes you look at your life. And then, of course, something else hits you smack in the face when your business goes wrong. So all of those things do make you reevaluate and take a look at where you are and what you've been doing and all of those kinds of things. So since you really, I think, have a tremendous business background in working as a construction owner, which is very unusual for, I think, a woman.
Yes.
What are some important tips that you'd like to give to our listeners for women to be successful in business?
First, the biggest one, Gayle, and I know you will agree with me, I think don't become a man. Stay your female self. But I learned things from man in not taking everything personally. In running a business, as you could say, still having that female touch, which is compassionate, which is caring, which is seeing other things besides only the profit and the money. It's more balanced. When there's have that balance within you of the female and the male. Because I have many meetings at BMW with 90% men, and I have run a construction business which was even 99% men, and I have learned a lot, but I stayed always true to my feminine self. It's very important in business that we have that female voice, but a female voice which is balanced and first of all, not frustrated, not the female voice that is really anti-man. I don't believe in that. I believe in a beautiful symbiosis, but keeping your own voice. And as I said before, if you're in business, not to take things personally, be resilient, even in failure, getting used to fail, and get up again and try again and be consistent, and persistent.
Well, I totally agree with you. I mean, I definitely think that women make great leaders. I think they have a different way of leading, and I don't think you should. I mean, we do all have masculine and feminine energy, and I do think we take on some masculine components. Certainly, I know that I have, but we can certainly remain feminine as well. So did you ever run into a situation where men resented you or tried to take advantage of you?
Oh, yes, many times. It's one of the reasons. Before I started my construction business, I was in the movie business as a press officer. That was my first job. I was there for 6 years. I was 22, and you can imagine, you're leaving college and I was in the movie business press officer, and it was just my first job, and you are young and you are blonde, and I come in this world, which I didn't know at all. I came from a little town, and you meet all those movie people and producers and managers, and oh my God, Gayle, my eyes opened up. You know, I started working there, and all of a sudden I was invited for all kinds of dinners, which had nothing to do with my job. And I was so naive that I thought, oh, they like what I do as a job. But then I had, as many young women, I suppose, some indecent proposals. And I could always stay, how you could say, I could always keep my dignity. I think it's very important as a woman when you have, because I run into several situations, but if you have some kind of proposal which you intuitively feel is not okay, you keep your dignity and you say no. And of course, for me, it had some consequences, which I was willing to bear. That's why I started my as a business owner. So, but that was 25 years ago. I hope times have changed.
Well, I don't know if times have changed so much as people are much more aware, because I certainly know when I was in business, because I was in business very young at 21, a lot of the, well, not even in business propositions, but the men who asked me out were often married. I didn't know they were married. But once I found out, of course, that was the end of that. But it was just kind of the way of the world. So, you know, but it also, in order to be an effective business person, you have to be able to manage your time. So how do you get more out of your day?
Okay. Well, I get up every day at 5:30. I meditate and pray for half an hour, which is very important for me to start my day with a strong mindset, in a peaceful way and a strong mindset. I get up 1 hour before the rest of the family gets up. So at 5:30, praying, meditating, and then writing, journaling. And then I start my day in preparing breakfast, doing some laundry, and I usually leave the house for meetings at about 8:30. Then I have a full day of coaching meetings. I come home 7 p.m. I cook, do some household, and at 9 p.m. until 10:30, I do some work on my laptop, I read and go to sleep. But I have become so aware of my time in what is important for me. And I think, as you will probably know very well, I learned to say no many times.
You know, a friend of mine who is a very successful businesswoman said, no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
That's a very important statement, I think. So,
I think, and we have to educate the people around us. And I had to do that too while growing as a business owner, educate my family, my parents, my siblings, and I am not available for everything all of the time. But because very, very often as leaders, we are seen as the leader in the family too, as the rock. And everybody thinks because you are a strong person that they just can rely on you for everything. And there too, I think setting boundaries, and of course I call my mom and I have a beautiful relationship with it, but just set boundaries that you educate them, you could say.
So what would you say is your secret for a fulfilled relationship or marriage?
Acceptance. I think first of all, the relationship with yourself. If that relationship is balanced, if you know that love, unconditional love, is a love without expectations, and at the same time, it's, well, I'm married for 23 years now, and we had our ups and downs. But lately, you could say, we have gone into this harmony, and maybe it's typical for women at our age. like around 50s, you have there is a kind of harmony and acceptance. My husband has a very, you could say, impulsive, tempestuous personality, which is wonderful, which fits wonderful with my personality. I'm always calm and zen and more quiet. So, but now when he goes and want to, when he's impulsive or he's really passionate, and I know, this will pass too. I don't have to go into the discussion, I just let it pass. And then when he's calmed down, we have a conversation. And I think maturity brings a lot. It's beauty.
So when, I was married for 45 years before my husband passed away, and we had a great, great marriage. Yeah, there were ups and downs, but I mean, it was a pretty great marriage. And, and we were two opposites. I mean, I'm very outgoing, very extroverted, very much, with people. And he was very introverted, shy. And I have all these friends, and he didn't have many friends, and it was really a dichotomy, but we were great for each other. And we were, so I think that everybody's got to find what their best relationship is, and so forth. And I think that's really important. So let's talk about the education that you got.
So you want to know my education in college, because I studied languages, French and Spanish. My native language is Dutch. So I'm, you could say English is my third or my fourth language. I studied languages, but I studied marketing. I had a postgraduate in marketing too. And I have been a lifelong learner. I love to learn. I have now a meeting with someone from college in Ghent here in Belgium. I would like to start for a master in philosophy. So I have never stopped learning.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So but that's what makes you interesting, Barbara. That's what makes you who you are. Because if you stop learning, then you stop growing.
Absolutely. And it keeps you so young. You always have something to look out to learn. It brings excitement in life. I think it keeps you the vitality. It brings vitality and excitement in your life, just to be able to learn a new book, something, like even now I have, I'm studying like business, in business. How can you transform teams? How can you work together? There's so many things out there that we can learn, and which makes us like more understanding, have a deeper insight in certain situations. I think human behavior is just one of the most interesting things we can learn.
So who is your biggest inspiration, Barbara?
Wow. That's a difficult one. I have many inspirations. My first big inspiration was my teacher in history, because he taught me something that I never thought about before. It's about embodying, like, how do you say that in English? Walking the talk?
Yeah, that's how you say it. Walk your talk.
Yes, walk your talk. It was in the 80s when I was in college. And in high school, and it was the moment of lots of peace manifestations, as we even have now. And he was like, if you want peace in the world, start with yourself, because we were all very into the peace movement. And he was like, you cannot stand for peace if you are not peace, like you are in your being. If your being is not peace, if you are not peace with your parents, if you are not peace with your siblings and the people around you, it has no sense to walk, like for peace in the world. And that was like my first big aha moment, like, okay, all I will do in life, I will embody it. Like leading by example, since then has been my mantra.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So where does Barbara see herself in a few years? I mean, what is success to you?
Success to me is getting up every morning full of excitement and joy and look into the day, what will be coming, whether it would be a day that I talk to people and empowered, like I love to help people see how much power they have within them, how much gifts, how much beauty, how much talent they have to share with the world. So if I can do that in the day, if I can do something creative, I love to paint, I love to write, have that balance of going out in the world and have a contribution to someone else's happiness. And for me at home, in my office, find joy in creativity, that would be the perfect balance for fulfillment.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful. So tell us what it's like to be running a business in Belgium versus what you think running a business in the U.S. is like.
Okay, first of all, I think we are a little more formal. When I come to the U.S., I see there it's more open. We are more reserved. Is that the word? Reserved in Europe?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I have to say I love the atmosphere in the States more, the atmosphere of business, because it's a lot more direct and open. Here things are always more bureaucratic and complicated. And
that's why we get pretty complicated here.
Well, then we make it even more complicated here. There is maybe one big difference, that's the obsession with money is a little less here. In US, people are obsessed with money. If like you have a conversation, people want to know what you do, and they are already in their head figuring out how much is she making, how much, like it's as if your income is related to your value.
Well, that's true. That's very true. And I agree with you. I don't think that's the way it should be, but I agree that is the way it is.
Yes.
I agree.
There are places here, like in certain, you could say higher business environments, it's like that too, but it's not so common in Europe as it is in US. So, and if there is something that I teach my clients, even if they are very successful financially, it's to never tie their self-worth to a number of money. Yes, because I have had the day where I could lose everything. I had such a setback. I didn't lose everything, but there was a moment, a day or two, where everything seemed going so bad that the bank even called me if I was considering to sell my house. So I had 2 days of I could lose everything. And at the night I was, staring at the ceiling. And I was like, oh my God, I survived a stage 4 cancer to live this.
You can survive anything, right?
Yes. And I was like, oh my God. And now I'm and then I had this deep insight, okay, Barbara, whether you would be homeless or you are living in your beautiful house, with beautiful cars, and it doesn't matter. You are worthy no matter what.
Well, let's tell everybody how to get in touch with you, Barbara. If they want to talk with you, where can they go to find you?
Okay. First of all, you can check out my website, which is Start the Life of Your Dreams, all, in one word, startalifeofyourdreams.com. They can find me on LinkedIn, on my name, Barbara Vercruysse. On Facebook, I have a Facebook page. I have an Instagram account, all under my name.
And yes, you should know, you spell her name, the last name is Vercruysse. And she has a free gift for you, which is your Fast Track to Abundance. Now, they can get that on your website?
They can get it and not on my website. I send you a link. Otherwise, people can message me or email me, and I'll send them the link with the gift.
Okay, because it's a pretty big link. I don't know if they get it if I say it, but
they can just message me.
Okay.
They can find me on one of the platforms, and there's on my website an email address too, where they can reach out to me.
So, folks, if you want to get a hold of Barbara, remember she is in Belgium. Her website is the Start the Life of Your Dreams, all one word, .com. And if you want to find her on any of the social media, it's Barbara, Vercruysse. Thank you so much for being with us today, Barbara. It has been an absolute delight. We know it's getting late over there in Belgium, so thanks for coming with us today. And I know our audience really enjoyed listening to you.
Thank you so much, Gayle.
Thanks for listening to Women in Business. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you have any suggestions as to who you'd like me to have as a guest, just email me at gaylecarson13@gmail.com. Be sure to check out www.sob6tips.com. And in the meantime, go to www.spunkyoldbroad.com to see the resources I have for you.